Welcome to Hello Player, a show for curious people who want an honest look at making a video game. I'm your host, Ava Carr, and we're back together with the entire group for a special 3-part series of Hello Player Season 1 with Charles McGregor. We're going to dive into all of the parts that no one ever talks about, which is what happens after a game launches. It's the final episode, so today Charles and I are going to take a trip down memory lane and also talk a lot about our favorite moments, talk a lot about what we would have done a little differently had we had known what we know now, and also look into the future together. If you're into what we're doing here, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel below. All right, let's get started. Charles, it's the final episode. The final episode.
The final episode underscore...
Version 3.
Version 3 underscore
actual final
episode.
I don't know what should we talk about in this final episode. We're gonna go down memory lane.
Traditionally, that's how final episodes go.
Is it? We didn't do our research, did we?
No, we did not.
I can talk about some of the moments that I remember a lot of, which is
Sure.
just like being in the office. The other day, I was actually looking through my Google Photos, and I was just kind of like clicking back and back and back, and it was there was a photo of you and Nicholas just sitting on the couch, kind of like you all were just like so sunken into the sofa. And
Yes.
I was like, what were they doing? And I realized that we were just testing. Like it was, I remember that day because we were just sitting there testing. Most of the lights were off, like the lights in the conference room were off, and it was clearly pretty empty, and it was just the three of us. And I'm pretty confident testing out a couple of new things in the level editor. So we were making new levels, and then we were playing around with new levels. And so Nick made a level, and I made a level, and you made a level, or maybe, well, you've made all the levels, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I didn't make any levels.
So we were just making levels and testing them, and again, like, I know it might not sound like a lot, but a lot of those moments in the office were really big for me, I guess.
Yeah. If we want to dive in on my stuff, here comes the list. Probably one of my favorite pictures that I took that year was a picture that a friend of mine who works with my brother. They both came down to E3. And like this was both me and my brother's first time going to E3. She took a picture of me and my brother standing there, but we were standing on the Microsoft Theater stage in front of my booth. It's my favorite picture from the event because it like represents so many things, where it's like, one, me and my brother are at E3. That is a
together.
spot. Together. That is a spot that me and my brother have been wanting to go to since we've been like kids, since the first time that we heard about E3. But then the other thing is that we're on the Microsoft Theater stage, and it's just like, whoa, the place that we're at in E3 is insane. But then also the context of like, I'm wearing my Tribe Game shirt and I'm standing in front of my booth, and like the fact that I am, they're showcasing a game that I worked on the Microsoft Theater stage at E3, all rolled up in that is just like, I don't have words for that, and it's insane that all of that happened. I just like really appreciate, especially that photo in particular, because it represents so many things that we've tried to do. Yeah.
I also remember another moment, which I don't actually think we've talked about on this show at all yet. The moment in which we were trying to coordinate going to the Microsoft E3 press conference.
Oh, yeah.
We weren't invited. Like, y'all need to know this. Like, we weren't invited.
Nope.
So, like, I'd say it was a hint of luck. It was, I hope, a little bit of charm. And a lot of support from our team, because I remember in that moment, right, I was like, oh, the press conference is coming up. Oh, it'd be cool if we could go. Oh, it'd be cool if we could go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, again, this is me talking who's like super sentimental. I'd be like, oh, this would be amazing if we could actually be able to go to a press conference live.
Yeah. And I started texting people and being like, hey,
Yeah. What
could we pretty please go to the press conference? So texting friends worked, and they were like, okay, well, I won't know if I can get you in. I will only know within roughly about like 30 or so minutes. So Charles and I got ready early, and the rest of the team was like, hey, it's fine, just go, because the Xbox experience was actually going to start and open immediately afterwards. So we actually had to be at the booth shortly afterwards, after the press conference, because then the stage opened up. So the rest of the team was like, we're going to stay here. We're going to eat. You and I are just sitting there like, okay, we're waiting. Yeah. And as soon as I got the text, we were like, all right, we're out. Like we pieced out and frantically got there in roughly about like 15, 20 minutes, as fast as we possibly could. We frantically like went through all of the lines, couldn't get a hold of the person for a little while. And then we were like, please don't forget us. And finally heard back, and then we got into line and we were like, oh, we did it. We're here. We're in line waiting. We're here.
Yeah, that entire escapade, that definitely was one for the books. The actual conference itself, and like experiencing that, it's surreal being there, and it's not a screen. There are physical people there on the stage.
There are real humans.
There are real humans there. To actually be there, and then like hearing the crowd and hearing all the surprises and things, and being called breathtaking and all this other stuff.
We were a part of that.
You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
Yeah, we were part of that.
We are actually the ones who are breathtaking. That's what Kiana was trying to say, is that everyone
clearly
in the crowd was breathtaking, not y'all who were watching at home. It was us.
But like that entire experience was just like, again, bucket list of things that I've always wanted to do ever since I've heard of all of these things. So yeah, that's why I feel like, man, E3 is kind of cheating, because like
it is.
It's the entire week of E3 was insane.
Yeah, there were also some other smaller moments that were like outside of E3 that I think were that made that trip like a really special thing for all of us, since we did end up doing like a couple of days afterwards too. For you, how was the crowd at, say, like E3 different from the crowd that was at Game Devs of Color? Like, did folks play your game differently? Did folks react differently to HyperDot? Like, tell me the difference in experience.
Oh no, yeah, there was a big difference even within the E3 crowd. There was a lot of differences. Like the first night was like the fan night. So that was a much different experience than like the opening day of E3. I felt like with GDoC, it was a lot more. It was a lot more intimate. There were not nearly as many people, and
it's like 600.
Yeah, compared to E3.
Yeah.
And because of that, it felt like there were more like one-on-one conversations, and like actually being able to like sit down and actually like connect more than just this is a cool game and we're talking about the cool game, but like have longer conversations, because there's not like another person that I need to go to talk to and whatnot.
Yeah, not like a million reporters that wanted to talk about something very specific.
Yeah, to be like, oh hey, the adaptive controller or something like that.
May I have your pin?
Yeah, can I have your pin? The pin economy. But yeah, that's I think that was like the biggest difference of like not necessarily, it's not quality of conversation, because I did also have a lot of like amazing connections at E3 as well, with people, where I did have like those rare occasions where I was able to talk to somebody for a longer time, so I was able to get more. But like that happened a lot more often at GDoC.
There's something very electric about the group at GDoC, which is unlike anything else that I've been to. And I think it's just like, it feels very intimate, not because of its size, and the intimacy just comes from like almost like shared understanding or shared curiosity or something. I don't know what it is, but you know, it feels different. And I really, really enjoy that conference, and I enjoy the people who run it too.
To talk more pertinent stuff relating to HyperDot itself. So we had a challenge out there alongside Tobii to have it so that people try and play HyperDot using just the Tobii eye tracker and stuff. Probably one of my favorite like gameplay related things to happen with that, it was that somebody actually went and played through the entire game from start to finish, including the bonus levels and the bonus hard levels, using just the eye tracker. And like to
wild.
see that,
bonkers.
To see that, it just like it blows my mind, because like originally, I've said it before, like originally that was supposed to be, oh yeah, this is like the novel thing. That was my original thought. But then like literally 15 20 minutes after I put it in, I was like, oh wait, this could be more than that. From there to go to somebody was able to play the entire game just using their eyes, is just like it. Like words can't describe that kind of feeling. Like somebody was able to play through and like enjoy themselves. I believe afterwards they left like a glowing review of the game and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's super sweet.
Yeah, it's just like the fact that somebody was able to do that, and I was able to supply that in any way, shape, or form, is still just amazing. To me.
Yeah, and they have it all recorded too, which is wild. Yeah. Like, I think they were very determined to show the world that they played this, like that they played HyperDot from beginning to end with just their eyes. And I was like, oh my God. And I couldn't look away. Like I was watching and I was like, oh my gosh, like this person is going through every single level and they are doing it and doing it and doing it. And they just, wow. Like it was mind-blowing.
It was amazing. And I think the final runtime for their playthrough was like 40 hours.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think the some of the later levels tripped them up. But like
I can imagine.
The edited video, I think the edited video was like an hour and a half or something like that. Like that there is something that I hold dear.
Yeah, it's super sweet, and I can't believe someone out there did that. Thank you for playing HyperDot. You are dope. Yeah. And your eyes must be tired. I still remember also one other thing, which I think this should be like the last and final moment. So you know how you and I like to do this thing where we surprise each other?
Yes.
Okay. So you like to randomly come in and be like, I got this feature done. Yes. And it's on a Monday. And I'm like, so you worked on a weekend? And you're like, I had fun. And I was like, and or you'll be like, we'll be drafting the meeting agenda. And I'll be like, okay, what's going on? What do we all want to talk about? And then you're like, oh, here's a secret update. Yep. And I'm like, oh. I felt like I don't know if you knew this, but I always wanted to one-up you.
Of course. Of course.
So I wanted to one-up you in my own way because, like, I know you're sentimental. I know that there are just certain things that will just literally blow your mind. Such as, you know, in our previous special episode here, getting a DM from Jeff Keighley. Yeah. I still remember the main thing that had happened this past year was you got a special phone call.
Yep. Yeah, that still is up there. Yeah, the phone call, the random phone call from Ava, it was not Ava, and it being Greg Miller from Kind of Funny. That is, yes, we still to this day, I can't believe that happened. Greg Miller is somebody that I've been following since for 10 years now, or something like that. Was one of the original founding members of like the IGN podcast Beyond. Eventually broke off and did his own thing with his group of friends and formed Kind of Funny, which has recently been killing it. I've consumed a bunch of his content. he has also like influenced me in terms of like caring more about the game industry as a whole, and like becoming more of like a student of the industry, learning about the industry. And like, yeah, before I was always like, oh yeah, video games, making games, and I want to make games and whatnot, but I didn't necessarily like paid too much attention to what was going on in the industry until me regularly listening to Podcast Beyond back in the day. That's when I started to actually pay attention and become more of a student of the industry and stuff. These are things that are really just like backstory to getting the phone call, thinking that it's Ava. It said Ava on the caller ID because you were at DICE. And I was like, oh, maybe it's like some business thing, and Ava needs me to say something to them. So then I picked up the phone and then, said it more like studious, like, hi, how's it going? Like, because I was expecting it to be some business person. Nope, it wasn't a business person.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I just, so totally blown away.
It is hard for me to remember everything that happened because it was just like me realizing and then coming to terms with the fact that is like I'm actually I'm on a phone call with him right now, and he's now talking about HyperDot. He's like, oh yeah, congratulations, you made it. I know that we've like touched on a lot of this from the past, but like that still to me is like one of the highlights of the entire development. The fact that that happened is still, I can't believe.
Checkmate.
Doggone it. Checkmate.
I think I win for now. Right. It's not like we're not going to be friends anymore.
Nope. We've already discussed this.
For now.
This is the end of the friendship.
I guess we can just move on and talk a little bit more about the post-mortem type style things. One of the biggest questions that I feel like you and I keep asking each other in very different ways and like super casually, but it's like, the question is, what would we do differently in the future? Like looking back on it, like, oh, Charles and Ava, who were so young so long ago. so naive.
Yeah. What would we do differently? Learn business. That's one thing that I probably should have learned before. I didn't know anything about business.
Yeah. What makes you say that?
Largely it was
taxes.
Well, not taxes, not that. It was more like actually like signing and stuff. Like that entire process. That would have been really nice to learn more about business things and like have some type of understanding of like contracts and what was an agreement. Yeah. Well, I knew what an agreement was, but like I don't know how you approach / negotiating an agreement and stuff like that. Yeah, learning more about business stuff beforehand probably would have been super helpful, at least from my standpoint. That and me trying to come to terms with being a solo developer and what does solo development mean to me and stuff like that. Like I wouldn't necessarily say I would like not be a solo developer next time around. Or like do the project solo. I would totally probably still do it solo.
You 100% would do it. What are you talking about?
It's more I would let go of like the idea that quite literally everything has to be by myself or like done by myself, largely because that is just the rabbit hole where it's just you keep on having to try and figure out like, oh, well, if I'm not working on if I'm not making the sound effects, well, if I'm not making the thing, like you keep going down that rabbit hole of how much are you not doing. I was like, well, if I use Unity, I'm not making my own game engine, so you have to make your own game engine. Well, if I'm not using my own language, coding language, so I have to make my own coding language. It's just insane in terms of trying to figure out what a true solo developer is and what does that mean and stuff like that.
I keep trying to think on my end what were some of the biggest items, and I keep coming back to this idea around like making decisions faster. I feel like I actually make decisions pretty quickly.
Sure.
But there were just some key moments that I felt like I had asked almost for like too long on certain things, and I wish it was very specific. I don't have like specific moments, but there are moments where I was like, I wish that I had made some really key decisions faster so that our outcomes would be just a little bit different. The decisions being made faster to me felt a little bit more like platform related,
Sure.
and also partnership related, because I know there were a couple like that I feel like we should have just said like, nah, a little faster.
Sure.
On our end, especially those partnerships that sometimes like take more energy than they give. So looking back on it, I kind of wish that we would have ended a couple of those conversations a lot earlier, and I would have made the decision to end them a lot earlier than we did.
In terms of like HyperDot itself, I probably would have focused a little bit more on not necessarily online things, but like online features.
Yeah.
So like leaderboards and things.
Mm-hmm.
Largely, I thought that was out of reach because I didn't know how to do online leaderboard things. I did spend that other time to like put in more features for like different controller support and things like that. So
yeah, I always feel like with features, it's like again, we just make lists and the things that we know how to do or how much effort it's going to take and whatnot. So we did what we could.
Now, I guess for Tribe Games / HyperDot, I'm still working on it. Still working on some cool updates and things recently. I've been working on some really fun and interesting ideas that I hope that will eventually make it out there. It's going a little slower than I thought it would be, but pandemic.
Yeah,
So.
life gets in the way, and it's the pandemic, and the world is on fire. We got it. A couple of things that are up next for us at Glitch. We just announced the Moonrise Fund. Y'all can go find that at theheyglitch.com/Moonrise. We'll be funding a lot of games, and for me as a person, I have a couple of games that I am just for funsies making, which I'm really excited about. I've been prototyping like a solar punk hidden objects style game with narrative, and I've been doing it with multiplayer. Which has been really interesting to explore. I don't know. It's been like my fun side project, and I've kind of needed that during the pandemic.
More near future things. I definitely am looking to continue to, again, making video games and whatnot, and I guess trying to do more talks and reaching out with to like the community and stuff, and helping out as much as I can, really.
Should we wrap this up? Is this it? Is this our final thing? Any last thoughts before we do the dang thing and close this whole season up?
It's just been a crazy experience. Really, it's just been like a wild ride. Starting from making a game in a class that had nothing to do with video games to now where the game has been out on like Game Pass and was part of like Twitch Prime, and this is just the start. And I want to continue to work and push my craft and whatnot. But like this experience has been out of this world, really. And I do want to thank, as I before on the last final episode, I do want to again thank you and Glitch and everybody. For being able to allow me to have some opportunities to be able to do half of this stuff.
It was honestly a pleasure, Charles, and it was so dang fun. Yeah, I feel the same way. My final thoughts are that I had so much fun. I felt like I learned a lot, and I also felt like the last couple of years have been really, really phenomenal. Like getting to know you, getting to know your game, your company, your goals, your family. Even though we've like even touched a little bit and talked a little bit about what we would have done differently had we had looked back, I wouldn't trade what we did for the world. So thank you for letting me be a part of your journey, Charles, and for letting us be a part of it. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
With that, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. That's a wrap on season 1, and that's a wrap on this episode of Hello Player, and it's a wrap for the entire season. We will not be doing any more special episodes. It is the final episode, version 2. You can, however, continue the conversation with us, with the Hello Player community, and also with the Glitch community over at discord.gg/heyglitch. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Wow, we're video now, so I can say that. Like, share, subscribe to our channel, and also to Hello Player on your favorite podcast app. Hello Player is produced by me, Ava Carr, Holly Harrison, Ben Hansen of MinMax, Alana Smith, and also with music done by none other than Charles McGregor. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next season. Thank you so much, Alana.
Okay.
Thank you, Charles.
No worries.
This is it.
We will never talk ever again.